This is Remote Daily, your daily dose of inspiration. This is Remote Daily, an oasis of innovation. For your mind, your soul, and your heart. Connect, act, recharge with Remote Daily. This is remote daily. Yeah, yeah.
Please welcome, with a large round of virtual applause, our guest of today, organizational development coach, Heather Berthoud. Heather, it's great to see you. Hi and welcome. You are still on
mute.
The famous mute button. Yes, there you go. Hi. Great to have you with us. How are you and your loved ones these days?
Somebody said yesterday, given all the givens, I'm doing really well. So we are, the world's on fire, and I am not personally. So that, given all the givens, things are pretty good here. So thanks. Yeah.
Here in your case means DC, if I'm not.
Yes, I'm just outside DC in Maryland.
And you have been doing what you are doing for more than 2 decades. You help individuals, organizations, communities to commit to social responsibility and justice. You teach at American University. You are a sought-after expert on diversity, change leadership, strategy. You have published in scientific journals, being a featured presenter at many conferences. So for many people, you're familiar in this conversation that we're having today. But to introduce you properly and show how you have touched lives, people, organizations, here's one of your dear friends and fans, I think I can say, telling us a bit more about what he learned from you and what we all can learn from you. Welcome, Joe Weldon. Please join us and please share what Heather has taught you. It's great to see you, Joe.
If I could take the whole hour, I could share what Heather has taught me. But I just will tell you, Heather and I met probably back in 1992, where we were going through a graduate program at American University in NTL. And actually, I see Julian Chender's name on here. I think he was also a graduate of that program. And for those of you who don't know, this is a program, it's a master's in organizational development. And I went into it thinking, oh, yeah, it's a master's of organizational development. This is great. I can learn, It's a very intense program where there were 28 people in the room for 2 years. It was a cohort that you examined yourself. Boy, did you examine yourself. We stripped away every part of ourselves because you can only affect an organization if you really truly understand yourself. I mean, I went into it by the first week. I was like, do I really have to understand myself? Can't I just take a test and get my master's? And I partnered with Heather. And at the time, here I am, a skinny white guy wearing button-down shirts on Wall Street. And I was partnered with Heather, who was basically the complete opposite of me. And I remember saying to her, like, what? There was some connection we had. I don't know what it was. And we bonded. And I think all of you can name a person who makes you a better human being. Heather made me a better human being, and she continues to do so. We've known each other for 20 some years. We could not speak for a couple of years, and I pick up the phone, and her insight, her humor, her intelligence, her snark. I learned so much. I can't go through everything, and I hope you learn as well from her. So my dear, dear friend, Heather, thank you for being here.
Now I have to go one question deeper, Joe. Can you maybe share one example that particularly stuck with you? I think you shared it the other day in a conversation as well. One example for that has really changed you that you learned directly from Heather.
Well, like I said, I mean, the big one is just this notion. I came in with a very isolated view of the world. I was a white guy, right? And I was fine with, we talked about this before, I was fine with the system, right? Because we invented the system. And I remember Heather saying, yeah, your system doesn't fucking work, you know, and let me tell you why. And she slammed me a few times. And I listened. And yeah, and she continues to teach me in a lot of different ways. And I still, to this day, I mean, I'll share this. I was, last week, took a walk and I realized that a march was coming my way. Serendipitously, I didn't go out to see the march. It was just coming towards me. And I stood on the curb and watched it go by. Then I heard Heather's voice in the back of my head saying, what the hell are you standing there for? And I crawled under the barrier and I went for a walk. And so I marched with them. That's Heather. Thank you.
I just heard a bell. So good cue there. Thank you, Joe. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for being part of our communities. Thank you for connecting us with Heather. And Heather, thank you for taking the time to be here today. To jump into what Joe just mentioned, your home area of DC has seen a lot over the last few days. You know, I mean, I don't need to go into detail, but the number of things in terms of protests, brutality, army, now the square, you know, the Black Lives Matter Plaza being inaugurated. So much going on, so much change, so much emotion, and yeah, frankly, so much of that system that Joe just described. How do you feel about this? How do you feel about what's currently going on as a local, really?
Well, you know, I'm in some ways it's sort of split screen, right? Like on the one hand, I'm excited that the world is on fire. I'm like, finally, you know, we've been having a conversation, similar conversations, the conversation for centuries. And it finally feels like, okay, you know, the egg has cracked, right? It's not hatched fully. The chicken's not grown, like, but at least the egg has cracked. And so I'm excited about that. On the other hand, I'm sad that like what it has taken for that to happen, and angry about that. And I have somewhere a dose of fear about who's next, right? In my family, you know, I went out for a bike ride the other day. I'm going for a bike ride, and I end up in some place, and then I'm thinking, am I supposed to? Should I? Right? Or I like to hike. I go out for a hike, and then I'm sort of like, where am I? Right? Like every once in a while, not, yeah, you know, like it penetrates, right? So then am I